And we are back in Japan for the National Japanese Super Touring Championship, the inaugural season, and the first time the franchise has had a excellent start. When we say excellent, we don't know exactly who is going to win the championship. We had some ideas at the start of the season, but the favourites, Toyota, are still in the mid-pack with all their focus on this championship and nowhere else. Mercedes, however, haven't had the best of starts, but as you can see, this is a very promising round indeed for them. The two Germans in a car not fitting the climate, shall we say, taking like a duck to water. Hopefully it doesn't rain. Lottera on pole then for race one, and alongside me, Swinney. Hopefully I've mixed my metaphors there.
No. That all made sense. And yeah, I've not personally looked at the weather forecast. So if it rains, that'll be just as big of a surprise to us as it is to everyone down there, I'm sure.
It's more four-wheel drive orientated this championship, but you'll see a few front-wheel drives in Honda, in the Toyota team with rear-wheel drive. But off the line, you'll see the Mercedes are already into the next frame. In fact, it took a matter of blink and you'll miss it gaps for the Subaru to come into third place, the Mazda to fourth as the Honda slip back. Scaife and Suzuki there, side by side as the Swarm through the J turn, turn one, and into the S's on the full Grand Prix course at Sazuka.
Yeah, this is going to be the longest lap we do on the calendar here. Well over 2 minutes per lap time. This is longer, I think, it takes a longer time, but yes, Bathurst is also going to be over 2 minutes a lap time.
Fair enough then. Through Dunlop after the S's on the approach to Degner. Scaife making up for lost time. Just overrun by the two four-wheel drive cars behind him in the Mazda. Now fourth of Katayama as Scaife takes a bit of a bite out of Degner too. Under the bridge, up to the hairpin. We know these turns off by heart, don't we?
Yeah, Scaife was looking to be aggressive in the early part of this race and taking an interesting line through the hairpin there. That was a lot of grass. Not sure that's going to be the most efficient line through that corner, but he's still on the back of Katayama. I think the Honda does have the speed in the straight line compared to the Mazda, so if he gets a good run out of Spoon, he will get a good run on the Mazda going into the 130R, or you can just try to send it and force your way past, maybe.
Oh, stewards are going to have a word about that, me reckon. Katayama not best pleased by the looks of it. Still, top end speed slipstream on the way to 130R. The reformed 130R into its 21st year since the safety measures were changed.
Single file through
final
there.
chicane. And definitely single file through final chicane by the looks of it already. Well, okay, maybe not. This is the most aggressive I've seen Scaife's first ever lap. Well, anywhere. So he's obviously fighting.
Need to be careful though, because he keeps being aggressive and he keeps potentially opening the door for Suzuki to come past his own teammate. And then if he's really not careful, Rustad in the Subaru is also right there.
And we haven't seen that much of performance from Rustad. Takahashi getting the race win in. This is one of the better performances already, and he looks set to take advantage of anything that Suzuki may mishap upon as the rest and the back markers go through with, wow, a rare sight of the Team Chaser Crown Athletes plumb last. All about the setup then, perhaps.
Yeah, as well as the two Works Genesis cars down there as well, so they're not happy around this track, considering Winterbottom was our most recent race winner at High Speed Ring.
So this is very reminiscent of a Formula 1 race about 25 years ago where the two Mercedes are flying away, with the Joker in the pack, the wildcard Subaru closing in then a gap.
Yes, to give it the F1 analogy, does that mean we've got a footwork in third?
I've got a headache. Followed by the two Onyxes in fifth and sixth. How's that headache now, huh?
Yeah, there you go.
And it's very much the works-oriented teams at the front of the field then. No sight of the semi-works Mitsubishis, who have been doing well. They're scraping into the top 10, and then the privateer Mazda there in 11th, Ingram 12th.
Yeah, just holding on to that just outside the top 10 in front of a couple of works cars, so they'll be happy with the points, I'm sure, and to be able to make up some ground on the team chaser cars. Looks like Nakano's coming under fire from Nakajima here in that diesel Mazda. Not quite brave enough to send it down the inside of the 130R. Ingram, where are you going?
You can ask him that later. Lack of grip. I mean, it's four-wheel drive. It shouldn't have a lack of grip. Whoa, there goes Degrassi. Bit of a biff on Bitsonia.
Send it.
Compatriots. And then Muto trying his best in the Genesis to stop Frentzen from, well, doing what she did at High Speed Ring, which pales in comparison to what she did at High Speed Ring anyway.
Yeah, that was quite the run, learning to use the high line like that. Frentzen doesn't have any previous oval experience, so that was very impressive to see. Pitsonia just kind of letting the side down for Mazda here, with Katayama up in the top 5. They've evidently gone for two very different setups on the cars, and one's working and one isn't. These two are still side by side all the way through the S's.
That one-shot golf doing a very niche Volkswagen Japanese fan base proud in the points. It has been slightly higher than that this season.
Yeah, this is going to be a track that favours the Golf because obviously it's got room to stretch its legs, and the Golf does favour straight line speed over slow speed, twisty turny handling type stuff.
Of which this track has one of each trope, shall we say.
Yes.
High speed, low speed, mid, uphill, downhill.
Does make it very difficult to set a car up because regardless of what you do, you're going to put yourself at a disadvantage for another part of the circuit. So Pitsonia is still too wide, but with a different car. There goes Muto past him finally. So Pitsonia's bad day just continues. Muto's trying to make something of a bad qualifying effort for the Genesis. In theory, Winterbottom will follow him through at some point. He's just got to get through the traffic. As we see Frentzen having a crack at Degrassi now for that final points-paying position. Winterbottom's right there, though. Is he going to follow someone through, maybe?
And still, Fujiwara not last. They're, once again, still taking their strides as Frentzen goes down the inside of Winterbottom there.
Yeah, Winterbottom had to back out of that one, lest he find himself on the grass. And that piece of runoff and grass there's a dive!
A dive, and almost successful as Frentzen gets to cut a little bit of the chicane, not too much. The grasscrete will spin the car out. Fujiwara doing a very good job of defending at all costs not to be in last, with the team that are surprisingly, we're expecting the Fujiwara car to be in last, but not the Genesis, not the Crown Athletes.
Nor Winterbottom, to be honest. He's going to be annoyed that he's down here and outside the points.
Back with leaders, and there's still a gap.
Formation flying from there.
The top 3 podium, it's looking to be cemented soon as we reach the halfway of this race. And by the time we reach this end of this race, it'll be the halfway mark of the championship. I was hoping the championship would be starting to get into its stride a bit and be a bit more predictable, but look at who's going to win. That'll be win number 11 of the season. Different winner of the season. It's been an absolute spectacle. There has been some tedium sort of accidentally slipped in, but every race has been almost a gift from the championship.
I mean, this does tend to happen when a new season is started or a new regulations turn up or new car or what have you. You will see a lot of even Stevens amongst all the teams and cars, and you'll see a lot of different winners. I dare say as teams with higher budgets get more development on their cars, they'll start, being more consistently up front. as the seasons progress for this championship.
Yeah, because we were expecting, and we've always said it since the pre-season, that Toyota, having bailed out of their world effort to focus solely on a national championship, it's a blessing that they haven't actually found their feet, so to speak, being a points contender rather than a title contender.
Yeah, absolutely. Muto's managed to grab the fastest lap just then, down in 3rd place, chasing Ingram here for 12th. Everyone's just sort of spread out at the minute.
Just to embellish on the unpredictability of the championship, getting 13th for the fastest lap, so that's going to tumble surely. That if they can do it, surely the guys in the front can.
You'd hope. Scaife seems to have not isn't attacking Katayama as much. I'm wondering if he's burnt out his front tyres just a little bit too quickly with half the race to go. Although he's still there, maybe he's just backed off deliberately just to give them all some breathing room. Taking a lot of inside curb around some of these corners. Both Hondas are doing it. It's an interesting line. Again, I'm not sure how efficient it is in the grand scheme of things, but look at that. Really early on the apex and just taking a huge amount of grass there.
It's like someone else is possessing Scaife to do something completely different. It's like a different driver altogether from the one we saw in races past somehow.
Well, you get a good setup and you get confidence in the car and it will transform you. See, lots of curb there for the first part of Spoon and the second part of Spoon again. Lots of inside curb. I think that's ultimately hurting him. I'm not sure taking such an early apex into these turns is the right way to go because you're losing momentum. And if Scaife wants to get past Katayama, that's what he's going to need. He's going to need a really good corner exit in order to go past her down a straight rather than trying to dive bomb down into a heavy braking zone. Because it's clearly not working. Katayama's got that one covered.
So halfway mark reached. Leaders about to cross the line now. There's the fastest lap from Schumacher. There's the fastest lap from Takahashi. Okay, yep. Let's see what the mid-pack do now as they cross the line. Maybe not with the traffic jam.
Looks like Takahashi's going to hold.
Unless some of the guys further back. No. Takahashi has got that for the time being. So that means Takahashi's closing in. Surely, as we keep focus on Muto and... Whoa, there goes Ingram. All right, then. The director was right to stay with this. Well spotted. Let's see that again.
Oh dear. Car just got out from him under braking there.
Wobble and indeed on.
Well held though, he's gathering it all up again. He didn't actually spin it,
direction.
And he's not lost that many spots.
Just got to make sure he can get that pole position for race 2. And then we've seen that the chasers have finally unshackled themselves from last place, which does mean it is the oldest car in the field. Unfortunately, Plum last instead. Here's Ingram on a mission now. Pitsonia seems to be in a different lane somehow.
Yeah, that was a lot of momentum moving up to Pitsonia's back bumper. There wasn't really any room to pass, so Ingram did the sensible thing there, just backed off a little bit. He might have another run here, though, by the looks of things. Yeah. Maybe not.
Holding off for Degner 2, yes. Holding off for the hairpin, surely. Here comes the dive bomb, maybe. No, okay. That's what I was thinking. Yeah.
Although Pitsonia doesn't want the apex, apparently. Left a huge amount of room on the inside there. Ingram is still on his back bumper. There's room there on to the right, but then you'd be on the outside for Spoon. Yes, I see what Ingram's doing.
There we go, smartly played. But then, wow, okay.
It's only late on the brakes.
Late, brave, and still ahead of Ingram.
Yeah, made it
for
stick.
The unlucky 13th position. Further up the mid-pack.
Yeah, Nakajima's got himself past Nakano. Muto is on the back of the both of them. with Ingram no longer in the picture, this is the race for 10th place, essentially, to see who can get pole for race 2.
Yeah, because the bulk of the pack are now so far ahead, they're not even trying to get pole anymore. But this is where Nakano
There's a
down
look.
the inside. They're being
Pulled out
brave,
late to
but
try and surprise the Mazda, but it didn't quite work. He's got to be careful not to let the Genesis through now. But the Genesis is,
almost
I think, too
foolhardy
far
there
back.
because we're seeing that move happening a number of occasions when they could just, there is something a bit more sensible that could be done. And here's the bulk of the points-paying positions behind the podium.
Well, here's something
places.
else we've missed. Katayama is now behind the 2 Hondas.
So yes, the top speed finally paying off for the Hondas, if a little too late in gaining on the leaders after a good qualifying session. Scaife with the fastest lap, obviously. Proof of that.
Yeah, now he's free of Katayama. He'll be able to stretch his legs and see what the car can do. Again, presuming he hasn't destroyed the tyres too much, he might be able to get a really good lap in now. Also depends
all
on
the
how
while,
much Suzuki hounds him for that. Whoa, hey! Never mind.
with his own personal wobble on. But Takahashi, very close. Well, we thought was very close because of the fastest lap earlier. All right,
Well, he's on the
same
back
position.
of him. He's within striking range should the 2 Mercs decide to do something stupid. He's keeping them honest. Heading into Spoon Curve. Line astern, formation flying from a lot of teams here. Of course, the moment we cut away to the top 3, Rustad gets past Katayama, so that Mazda has lost another spot, is now going to be victim to the 2 Toyotas right there. Don't know if they'll have the momentum going down the straight into the 130R here.
Evidential where the other Mazda is then. If that's further back, Toyota look to be gaining ground as well. This is one of Rustad's best positions so far.
Yeah, he's had quite a few disappointing runs in that Subaru so far, where he's got out of the car and shaking his head and the team's not quite sure what they've done wrong, so this is nice to see for the team.
Saying that, he is back to where he was at the start of the season, so lowest of 8th before round 3, highest of 5th, so he is in that ballpark. And Suzuki and Scaife swap positions, if somewhat aggressively.
Scaife isn't quite
Scaife
letting it
about
go
to get
yet.
that back. Maybe not.
There we go. So, position swap for the 2 Hondas. Can Suzuki now pull away and try to catch the top 3 with 3 laps to go? I don't know how much team orders are going to be taking effect here, if any. Meanwhile, Nakajima's still 10th, still holding on to that pole position for race 2. No mean feat, considering Muto and that Genesis is right there, and they are... Genesis is looking more and more dangerous as the season progresses, I will say. They started off really not very well, almost pretty much outside the points at Fuji. And every round we've seen them improve until now.
They did take the lead of the Teams Championship. This performance will put them on the back foot somewhat, as Toyota could calculatedly, if that's a word, get ahead of them again by the time the weekend is over. But Mazda not even close to sneaking that second place out of them either, as evidenced by their slightly poor performances towards the end of this race. And fingers crossed they might get that fixed for the reverse grid race later on this evening. But as it stands, Mercedes have not had to worry at all this weekend. They are flying. The only doubt in that is if Takahashi's going to turn everything up to 11 on that Subaru to get past. We shall wait and see. Whereas down the inside goes Nakano again.
That's another
We've
look.
seen that before.
Yeah, it didn't work last time. With 2 to go. Muto might pass him. He's still just about alongside, got the quarter panel up there. I think he's going to be clear going into turn 1 though.
It's still as you were for 10th, 11th and 12th, but it does determine who's on pole for race 2. Katayaba not so much holding up the Toyotas as Toyota holding themselves up in 8th and 9th.
Yeah, they're just, again, more just formation flying from the teams, it seems. They don't quite necessarily have the speed this weekend to really push home any advantages. Plus, they've got both cars in the top 10, whereas, as you said, their main championship rivals, on a team's perspective, are nowhere near where they need to be in order to uphold those positions. So Toyota can just sort of finish off the laps, run round comfortably here, and pick up a good haul of points for 8th and 9th.
Given that they are in a good, solid position for race 2, then just be nice to squeeze a bit more points out of this race, especially if Katayama's slowing slow out of the hairpin. Butcher looking to gain here.
He might send it into the spoon, but he's a bit far back. Yeah, constantly tapping on the brakes there for Katayama. That tells me that the car is either very, very understeery or very, very oversteery. Either way, it's not behaving around the corners like she likes, because she can't just smoothly apply the power and accelerate out.
Honda still 4th and 5th, just out of shot. The top 3 through the chicane with 1 more to go. They are still in formation flying as well, as some of the back enders start to flail off, resign just to finishing the race. Here is the battle for pole. Nakajima still holding it. Ingram still in 13th, not close enough, not gaining enough after that mistake. So I wonder if the tyres have actually been given the last rights, so to speak. Suzuki with the fastest lap, having passed Scaife.
They've got 1 more lap to do anything about trying to get Nakajima off of 10th place. Otherwise, we'll be looking at the privateer FedEx-sponsored Mazda on pole for race 2, which could lead to some very interesting things. This also might be why the 2 Toyotas are just not pressing Katayama as much as they possibly could do, is because they will be 2nd and 3rd for race 2. So they can potentially really capitalise on the end of the weekend here and get potentially a 1-2 finish, just like Mercedes are doing for race 2.
It has been fairly dormant. There has been some action. We were expecting more, but with this half a lap to go, Takahashi might be getting to turn the heat up here as the tyres are about to go past the use-by date. Schumacher ahead of Lotterer, so that's the only change since Lotterer was on pole. Not that that was anything to be writing home about. Lotterer might need to fend with what brakes are left as well. 130R one last time. And Takahashi is incredibly close this time, but not close enough. It has been a solid performance from the out-of-towners. Schumacher, Lotterer, Mercedes 1, 2. Subaru very proud 3rd. Honda still trying, but only getting so far. In the end, it didn't even matter for the top 5 finishes, but even worse for Toyota, because Butcher goes across the line. Narusai 8th, Nakajima 10th. So that's how it's going to look for race 2 with the privateer Mazda on pole. Ide just, well, I think all the effort has been put into this car as others have caught up. They managed to steal a march at the start of the season. I think, well, maybe it is a bit of a bad luck venue for them, but we'll just have to wait for round 7 to see if that's any different. or dare I say around here for race 2. Formation flying for the silver bulkheads. And yeah, it's a hard one to kind of, summarise. Just nothing really happens. Just a change for the lead that, well, we missed it, but it doesn't surprise us that we missed it.
Yeah, absolutely. I think this is another case of just like Fuji. It's it's a big track. People have got room to spread out. We did see some moments. There were some good dive bomb moments at the chicane. I'm sure we'll see more of that come race 2. But with Nakajima on pole in that privateer Mazda, that could be a very, I mean, not disparaging his speed, but that could be a very, very interesting bottleneck to get everybody to trip over each other potentially for race 2.
The saving grace is that is now 11th different race winner. Fingers crossed we get a 12th in the reverse grid, and we'll see you soon for that. Good racing, everyone. Well done, Adam.